What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. So Call of Duty dropped another set of patch notes today. This came in at 6 p.m. We already got some patch notes earlier this morning with a brand new update, which was update 1.62. That required a download depending on your file size and all that. Could have been like 3 to 5 gigabytes. We covered those patch notes earlier. If you missed that, I'll have it linked down in the description. But they're actually working overtime because they dropped another set of patch notes for multiplayer and Warzone again at 6 p.m. So let's go ahead and cover all of that. So the very first thing that we have here is we got a new update. It says Tuesday, November 19, 2024, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the global movement update. So this is going to be for everything. Movement: reduce the minimum sprint time required to perform the following actions: dive to prone or slide, and then address an issue that could result in being unable to sprint when performing several actions within a short amount of time. Now, the description that they went ahead and gave us for this, it says these changes apply to both Black Ops 6 and Warzone and should result in more responsive movements with fewer occurrences where players attempt to dive to prone or slide and instead crouch. We will continue to assess and identify areas for improvement, fluidity with Omni movement. So basically what they're saying, there was a glitch where if you would try to sprint, slide, dive, do any of these things, there would usually be some sort of a delay that would get added, especially many of you guys who like to do the movement on Warzone. If you try to pop a stim, you may notice that there would be a delay before you begin the tactical sprint, and many people thought it was a part of the settings with the tactical sprint delay. You do set that to 0, but there's still that slight delay that would end up popping up. It looks like that was actually a bug and they have fixed it. You do feel that major difference, especially if you're playing Warzone. After you hit that slide and then you try to tactical sprint again, you don't have to spam the button, and usually there's like that short moment where you have to wait before you can do it again, but you don't need to do that anymore, and they've completely fixed that, which a lot of people have been giving them very good praise over on Twitter since this update dropped. Now, for the multiplayer specific changes, they also did a movement update there. This was only for multiplayer. Players will no longer be taken out of sprint when taking forward facing bullet damage with a melee weapon equipped. So that was like a thing that would happen with melee users. You would try to sprint towards somebody, they would end up shooting at you, and it would like give you that flinch damage, and it would sort of slow you down and take you out of that sprint. You'll notice it a lot on maps like Stakeout when you're running towards someone and then they shoot at you, and for some reason you feel like you can't reach them. It's because they stop you from sprinting and they sort of like push you back with all the flinch. So they've actually fixed that. Now for zombies, they did a couple of updates. So Maps Terminus addressed an issue where zombies could spawn indefinitely. This was like a glitch that people were using to do infinite XP. It looks like they're cracking down on that and fixing all of it. And it says Liberty Falls addressed an issue where players would not be removed from a chopper gunner when starting the main quest final encounter. That was also a brand new glitch where there was an infinite chopper gunner glitch after you go over to the final boss, and right before, I believe, I forget the doctor's name, right before that cutscene happens, you pull out the chopper gunner and it would leave you in this infinite loop glitch where you would just continuously spam the chopper gunner and be able to get a lot of XP. Now they've also nerfed directed mode. It says an exfil will now be triggered at the 5th hour of a directed mode match due to performance issues. Many people will stay, for example, at like round 5 or round 11 and loop it over and over again to complete their mastery camo grind, and it looks like they don't want you to sit there for more than 4 hours. I feel like the 5th hour is more than enough time to let you swap out your weapons, leave the match, and then come back and start it again. I believe there's also like an infinite XP glitch that many people were doing, and I guess that's a way to try and counteract that. Then the next thing is Gobblegums addressed an issue that allowed Gobblegums to persist indefinitely, and then Stability added various stability fixes, and this mainly has to do with apps crashing, servers, and lag, and packet bursts, and all that stuff. Now we ended up getting the Warzone side of things, so they jump in here. They say general weapon trade stations reduce the chances of receiving the specialist perk pack from that area, because you would trade in an ultra weapon, which is like the red rarity, and almost like half of the time you would always get that specialist perk added. So I guess they made it a little bit more rare, maybe reducing the chances to like 30%. And then they've removed the care package kill streak as a trade-in reward, so you can no longer give that to the trade station. And now for the movement, it's the same exact thing that we talked about earlier, where they reduced the minimum sprint time required to perform the following actions: dive to prone or slide. I feel like you notice it a lot more here in Warzone than you do in multiplayer, but anyways, it's the same thing that they mentioned already. And then for the weapons, they did an update here. So reload times for Black Ops 6 assault rifles and LMGs are reduced by 10%. This means that it will be 10% faster to fully reload your weapon. So they pretty much buffed all the ARs and LMGs in terms of the mag, I guess, fast mag capability. And it says we're taking passes at improving the flow and reducing downtime between gunfights. Future updates will address other classes, and that's mainly because a lot of people use SMGs right now are able to really reload very quickly compared to someone using an AR, and they sort of want to balance that out. But I think we're going to get a bigger update later on, which I'll talk about later. But it says bug fixes fix the issue that allow players to redeploy with the specialist perk package still active, which is this is something you're supposed to drop. Fix the issue that caused players in the winner circle emotes to play without audio. Now, alongside this update, they mentioned there was something else. They said some PlayStation players may encounter login issues, including the Puget Lakes error message when attempting to connect to Black Ops 6 after this brand new update. This is expected behavior as your account receives the most recent update. This may happen with some updates and will resolve shortly after your update is complete. So many people are saying that it keeps happening every single time they try to restart their app. I think it's more of like give it a little bit of time after a new update goes live. They are doing a lot of consistent updates, so I guess it takes a second for PlayStation to load through. But as of right now, it's only PlayStation dealing with this type of issue at the moment. There's a couple of other additional things that they're currently working on at the moment. For example, when you take a look at their Trello board, there's one that says we're investigating an issue where some players are unable to deploy score streaks. This is definitely an issue that I did notice with the precision airstrikes. As you take a look here from the Trello, I don't want to go over every single thing that's available, but there's a lot of things going on currently with the game that need to be resolved. For example, you just take a look at the issues area. There's the global one where there's the investigating issues that cause a number of player settings to reset every single time they load up the game. There's crashing and stability reports for PC players that just randomly close your app. They're also investigating issues where the kill streak, which you talked about, they're preventing some active contract icons from appearing on the HUD. There's also preventing players from accessing Warzone via the main Call of Duty tab. Rebirth Island being disabled because there's that map specific issue. 2 following weapons are being restricted while we investigated related issues: the core 45 handgun and the spear melee weapon. And then there's just a lot of other things going on. For example, all the audio problems where the game, like you'll hear someone but you don't know exactly where they're coming from, or maybe sometimes footstep audio is actually not picked up at all. So as you see here from the updates, the consistent amount of updates they keep adding into the game, they're trying to resolve and fix these as fast as possible. So anytime they get a batch of these different patch notes ready, they'll just drop the update with a playlist update majority of times, and then they'll drop it, give it to us, and then they'll go on and work on the next set. So they're slowly fixing everything. Obviously, there's still a lot of problems that are currently going on right now with the game, which I believe maybe before they end up going on break, they're going to fully sort out and give us, because Season 1 Reloaded is expected before the devs go on their holiday break all the way up until early January, and they sort of want to get all this solved before then, or else we're going to have to play with a buggy game for well over a couple of weeks until they come back to the offices and be able to fix that. But that's all they got for you guys in this video. Let me know, are you guys excited with these updates that Call of Duty's pushing out, and are you looking forward to the future? But it's been your boy Chidzone. I'll see you guys again. Peace.